Hello everyone, welcome back to another section of the tier list. We're really kind of starting to get things up now. We've had a few controversies and a few ups and downs, but we are finally back with another section. So, kicking start this, we've got Scooby-Doo Stage Fright. Now, like we normally kind of preface these with, I'm gonna
Ultra Instinct.
alternate
Wait, what?
who goes first, and you know what I mean. So I mean, hey, you can go first with this one, and the next time I have one, just so we're not like constantly dominating each other in
I
terms of
I
opinion.
really love stage fright. I do, to the point where I can watch it endless because I do like musicals, and
Mm.
especially the songs in stage fright are definitely great. The intro was amazing, the music on performance with the actors as well. Like there were some really good songs, especially with Fred and Daphne. I really want to say Ultra Instinct,
Yeah,
me
this was
personally.
an interesting one. This is the one where it's like the singing contest, right? So
Yeah.
I love the direction. I love the music. I mean, obviously, there's some that are kind of like made to be a joke, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that if it can be a parody level. The cast is good. Is this the one as well where like Daphne and Velma have that moment where like she
Where,
confesses her
yeah,
love?
I love Fred.
You know what?
It's
That's
just Velma's face. All right, too much information.
automatically that does bump it up a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
Mm.
because they find like I think that was the first movie where they actually showed that they are in love with each other,
I
and
mean,
it's not
it's
just rumors.
the minimum of how groovy for me. I know that. I like it more than Cyber Chase. I like it more than Pirates Ahoy. I like it more than Where's My Money. Oh, I just don't know if I like it as much as Aloha. I feel like I might do, you know, because it's more general. Aloha maybe is more summary, but you can watch
Yeah,
Stage Fright anytime.
any time of the year, and it's like those songs don't get old. Like you can like I will sometimes just listen to songs on YouTube, just play them on and just like listen to them in the background while I'm working on something.
Here's the thing. I'd be quite happy to put it above Goblin King at the top of How Groovy. But if you do want it at the bottom of Ultra Instinct, I don't feel so strongly about it being Ultra Instinct, but I'm not against it either.
Well, let's put the very top of How Groovy.
Because it is good. I do like it a lot. There's definitely a lot to like about it because again, the musical section, oh, it's just so good. But here's something a bit different, and maybe you should have started off with this one, or I think it's kind of good from my perspective actually to start with this because I do feel like maybe I've got a bit of an unpopular opinion about this one. But we have Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery. So I remember from the
Oh,
Jesse Leon McCann interview that you, Mark, are very, you know, up to date with WWE. You're quite familiar with it, whereas I'm on the opposite like edge of that spectrum. I don't know what the WWE is. I don't know your difference between your Undertakers, your John Cena's, your Rey Mysterios. Like it's all alien to me. I don't think I've ever watched one single like wrestling match,
yeah,
but
because
I actually liked the WrestleMania mystery movie a little bit more than I was expecting to, because I feel like they made the mystery and the wrestling quite entwined to the point where if I'd liked the mystery and characters, which I do, I could follow the story along enough to the point where it wasn't too reliant on me knowing anything about wrestling. I just know, oh, this is something Shaggy and Scooby like, so let's see them go on this journey. Like with Big Top Scooby Doo, I don't know anything about the circus, but I can understand that. Stage Fright I enjoyed, even though I know nothing about musical theatre. So it was a bit like that. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I expected. I would put this anywhere around the middle of like the middle section for me because I liked it a bit more than I thought. I thought because for me, when I heard wrestling, like I thought it was going to be Swamp Gas, but I did like it more than I thought. So, what are your kind of thoughts about it?
yeah, so I grew up watching wrestling during the Attitude Era, so I've been following it for a very long time, and I've seen some many changes with the Undertaker, especially John Cena. I remember John Cena when he first introduced. He was basically the Chain Gang, where he's just the Doctor of not Thugonomics, the rapper. Um, that's how I used to remember him. The Chain Gang, he used to go around calling himself. He used to always have the chain they used to use with the Intercontinental title or the US title, as I have to call it. But I've been following it for a long time, and I honestly, when they went to the PG era to make it more family friendly, that's when a lot of stuff was getting changed and warped a lot, where
Yeah, I
there
saw
wasn't a lot of
some
blood.
weird stuff, like where they were
There were
like in
certain
the
things,
bed.
yeah, where they couldn't do it. Like when they finally came at the to be a family friendly PG era, they got rid of the blood. They got rid of certain matches. They got rid of words that they can't use. And it definitely did look like a theatre house most of the time when they were talking. But some of the wrestling stuff was quite nice to see, but it was nowhere near the extreme as I remembered it. And when I saw them announcing they were going to do it with Scooby-Doo, I was like, it's a bit weird throwing wrestling, which, okay, wrestling is fake, it's for entertainment, in a Scooby-Doo movie when they're solving mysteries that are also fake. So it's two fakes working together in its own construct. So I thought it was going to be a massive flop. I thought it's not going to work. How can you do a movie based on wrestling? You know, who's the Undertaker going to be? Some swamp monster or something? Is he just going to get back up and then put him in the tombstone? Or John Cena's going to give him the FU? It's like, I don't really see it happening. And because especially with the trailer, it was that bear, and I was like, "There's no way you're telling me the big ass bear was defeated by Kane, the dead man." And I was like, "I don't believe it," because if you in real life, if they went to a bear, they'd be dead. No moves are going to save them. But after watching it, I could see the reasons why it was quite good, because it was also how a lot of filler that made up for it. So that it got a lot of plot development with the characters, and I especially liked how when the wrestlers had to help out, they used to take off their shirts. Which I've never understood why they did that. It's just Daphne's expression, like, oh,
Is this the one they did with AJ? Because I do get them mixed up. Is this the one that had AJ Lee in and she was like helping Shaggy, like
yeah,
training? And see, that was my favorite section.
yeah.
That
Then
was
literally, the
brilliant.
van got stuck, and then John Cena was there on the run. He goes, "I'll help you out." Takes off his shirt, in slow motion past Daphne, and starts lifting it. Wow! And then Fred gets jealous.
See, that's the thing. I feel like that is the right level. Like, if you're gonna give Daphne a bit of a moment that I'm not a great fan of, I think that they do it a decent amount where it's comedy, there's that back and forth. I think they take it a bit too far in some movies, but here that wasn't too distracting. Like, it's so weird because every part of me was thinking that this was going to be the worst Scooby Doo movie ever for me because the only parts about wrestling I knew is like probably some stuff about Alexa Bliss that I really shouldn't be talking about on a YouTube video, but there's different aspects of this that I do enjoy a lot. And again, like if they did another one, I wouldn't be against it at all. I'm surprised to hear you say that the wrestling's fake, because a lot of Millie's family are into wrestling, and one thing they absolutely hate is when anyone even implies that it's fake. So I'm a bit surprised about
Ah, God, I have to let her know that the Tooth Fairy's fake.
that.
Really, Santa's fake as well.
Oh
Sorry.
yes, well, Santa.
Even though you know wrestling's scripted, it's still very entertaining to watch, and I can still sit down and watch the SmackDown, the Raw, ECW. I can watch all of that for days.
I want to watch some tag team.
But what I used to love about the Attitude Era, a lot of it was unscripted,
Oh
with the amount
really?
of with the amount of insults and build up to certain conflicts. When you speak to the wrestlers now, they will tell you most of it wasn't planned during rehearsal. So most of the expressions, especially when um, The Rock and Y2J, Chris Jericho, teamed up to diss Stephanie and Rhino, was probably the most like unscripted comedy I've ever seen. ever because they ripped into Stephanie by trying to, which many people thought you've mentioned Rhino had been so disgusting, hideous, and hairy. And don't you worry, Rhino, we'll get to you in a second. So I'm like, that was unscripted because no one saw it coming, not even Stephanie. I
That's
thought
mad. I'd love to
because
see
they
that.
used to go to extreme of doing stuff like that. Whereas now the banter when they're trying to insult people, it's like it's there, but it's like deep down they really want to say what they want to say to bring up the hype and all that, but they can't due to certain contracts and where the company's going. But I've noticed recently since Triple H or Hunter, as he known by, took over, it's slowly digesting back into an attitude era in some ways.
I mean, it is interesting, especially as you say, how they made that go with Scooby. Like how there's clearly been like a little transformation where they've wanted to lean into that more general audience type of thing, and I guess Scooby would be the perfect way to do that. So,
Yeah,
where would
because
you put this on your list? Like, where do you feel? Because I'm happy with it being around about the middle of mediocre, maybe towards the upper end, because it did surprise me. But I could imagine you having a very different opinion about it, in terms of the tier list than me.
I want to say it's like mediocre. I'm
So
not saying it's
where
the worst, but I'm not
no,
saying it's
far
like
from
I'm
it.
not saying it's not how groovy standards. I'm saying it's like mediocre.
Mm.
But it all comes down to where you would place it on that, because obviously I want to say it's like roughly in the middle, just above the middle in mediocre.
I would put it literally in the middle of Monster and Mexico and Reluctant Werewolf, in between those two.
Yeah, just sits nicely. And considering that, like WrestleMania Mystery, they did it as a way to draw in the younger generation.
Yeah.
So it made sense doing it, and it worked because, you know, 3 or 4 years later, they came out with another one, which was also a good success. So it's like it shows that it works, but I feel like now they know that times are changing. People want the old standards back because it was more entertaining. People paid a lot more money to go see them live due to how much, because there was backstage brawls, they were street brawls and everything. It's like there was proper carnage in the old Attitude Era ways, whereas now it's like health and safety has gotten in place where you can't do a fight out back. Like back then, it's like if they find a ref and they see a person there, they can challenge him there and then for their title, and it just be classed as a brawl out back. It's like, all right then.
It's crazy, really, because I like it. I like it. I think out of all the ones that we've done so far, it's the most pleasantly I've been surprised by a movie when I remember doing the reviews. But I guess the next one is Frankencreepy. So I guess I'll kind of kickstart that. I did really like this one. It was very Velma centric, and so it wasn't really my thing. There were some parts of it that I was kind of a bit like, it seems a bit too derivative, like when it was doing parallels towards Frankenstein, like that's all well and good, but it's kind of got to deliver on like creep factor a bit if they're gonna make that parallel beyond just point your finger at the screen and go, look, just like Frankenstein. But I do like this a lot. I think it's one of my ones out of the newer movies that I'd go back to a bit more, especially around Halloween. I don't think in terms of like the ones that we've got here, I don't know where I'd want to put it. I think I like it more than Big Top, but then at the same time, I don't think it's quite how groovy. It could be though.
So with this movie, I especially loved how it was a joint effort revenge plan to take down the Mystery Inc. But also, when you come to terms with it, it's also the most stupid way that, like, you take out the gang's like power that holds them together, and they did it in such a like they've really thought about this. They've really thought deep and hard. Like, what can we do to separate the gang? They blew up Fred's van when he walked up to it. So they took his baby, his machine, his transportation, the only thing he has the value where he can travel his companions to places. So they have to rely on public transport or train systems to get around. So they made him depressed to the point where he has no contribution whatsoever. Then they target Daphne's looks. They make her look hideous, which is her phobia, where she tries to look like the princess. So she's all gorgeous in that. So they take away her looks and crushes her spirits. Then they go after, which I don't. This is probably the best phrase. They're going after Shaggy and Scooby by curing them of their desire to eat food, so they feel full. But also, as a result, makes them brave and confident to do stuff, even get lobotomized by Velma, was probably the best thing I like because they took it as like they just did not care. Like they took it with a chip on their shoulder. And then with Velma, they pretty much made her crazy. They pretty much falsified that she's exactly like her relatives, and they go cuckoo. And then she actually did, but I don't understand. If someone's so smart, you would know you've been being played, because why would you go completely insane for no reason?
Yeah, she would know that
Dress,
she's
yeah.
been
Why would you
hoodwinked
dress
in
up
some way, like
in a
fact check it.
creepy costume and then go full super villain mode? It's like, you really telling me the smartest person in the gang acted like Shaggy and Scooby for that brief moment in time? It was very thought execution to take down the gang that put them inside. And the main point with a Scooby-Doo mystery is there's always one culprit and one scheme. Whereas this one had a magnitude of, culprits working together who were former inmates that were defeated by the Mystery Gang in the past, coming together to get revenge. Whereas, the easy way to do it, wait till in the van and blow it up. Boom, all kids dead. Revenge
Which I
done.
guess maybe a bit too adult than you wanted,
they
but
could have
they
really,
thought it out so well. Like, there were some things. I mean, when you
yeah,
see the mystery machine explode, you're almost saying like that's like mafia tactics,
yeah,
and then it goes straight from that to almost goofy. Like we have a good start, and then it starts getting goofy. I mean,
yeah.
one thing I'll say about this is I love the editing towards the start. It actually reminded me a bit of like how Edgar Wright directs like movies, so I love that. I also love that thingy. What is it? This is the one that has that Daphne web series where that Daphnatic
Yes.
shows up. I thought he was going to be the main villain when I first saw it. I thought it was going to be like some ridiculous plot because it got a bit goofy from the Daphnatic, but it wasn't the
Well,
case.
it was when you find the end that the house property got destroyed, and they could have just like sold off or done whatever and didn't have to worry about getting revenge. So you're telling me they're all smart that they couldn't even figure out that they could have just sold the land underneath them, reap the rewards, and then the whole point of revenge was stupid because you're back in prison.
Or even just replicate their old
Yeah,
schemes, except make sure to not do the one thing that got them caught last
yeah.
time. Something like that. But I think that there's a lot to love about the movie, but there's also some things that I look back on with a bit of trepidation. I think I would on a good day when I wake up in a good mood and I'm all happy, I think I'd put it somewhere towards the lower end of how groovy. But on an average day, I don't know how much I put this one on. I think I like it more than Big Top, Music of the Vampire, Loch Ness. I think it's a lot better for me than a lot of these. So I'm almost tempted to put it on the top of mediocre or at the end of how groovy. But I don't know how that aligns with your views on
See, I would probably say at the end of How Groovy.
it. The end, so say below Cyber Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
So I
not mad
say
at
it's
that. I'm not mad
definitely,
at that. Because it is good.
it definitely, they put a lot of work into it.
Okay. So here's one I'm interested to get your thoughts on because I've got quite I think I know where I want this already, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on this one first, and that's Moon Monster
Oh.
Madness.
See, I want to say with Moon Monster Madness, I want to say mediocre. It wasn't the best that it could be, especially for a movie about going to space, making space travel affordable for all people. It's like, one, where's the profit in that? If you lose too much money if you made it for, it's not a train down to, an hour away train ride.
Is it like a train to Newcastle? Is the
Yeah,
full blown the cosmos,
yeah.
cosmic stuff,
It's
cosmic
like the
stuff.
amount of money you'd be costing to go into space for one trip. No normal family like me and you can afford it because it'd be too expensive. You need to be a millionaire just to even get one flight ticket, let alone pay for the return.
Literally more expensive than that Titanic submarine. It would be like that type of rich people that end up doing the space travel.
I feel like the first ever episode of What's New Scooby-Doo where it had that space one.
Oh, this was a space ape at the cave, like
Yeah,
that of the monkey. Oh yeah.
yeah, that's probably what I was expecting when going into this movie. As I literally rewatched that episode before watching this movie, and it's like I was expecting that level, but it was completely opposite. Well, I didn't really get the same atmosphere from the enjoyment. So I feel like the episode did it better than the movie in this case. That's why I want to say it's like mediocre because they tried, but they've done it before. So we've already had like a an alien encounter, and we didn't really want another one. It was nice, having a trip on seeing the gang in a different moonlight, different atmosphere, a way to have a mystery elsewhere rather than planet Earth. But at the same time, it's like we didn't need it in a sense. So that's why I probably would say mediocre. It's not something I would go back to in a heartbeat to watch. It's just like one of those lame, like lean back movies. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm gonna say it could be a lot better if they just really thought about it. With Moon Monster Madness, I'm looking at the monster part and the madness. You know, if we go into the moon, where are the space moon aliens or something like that, or some sort of biochemical that took control. Worked on the fear element to make it more creepy. They could have done a whole Ripley episode with aliens. That would have been much more better than what they produced.
Yeah, see, I agree. Maybe I think you are a bit more positive on this than me, because instantly when I saw that this tier list, I knew we were doing it. I wanted to put Moon Monster Madness at the bottom of mediocre. Maybe even for me personally, if this was my own tier list, I might even put it in Scooby Don't because I was so disappointed by this. Like when it was coming up in the reviews, I was so excited because I love sci-fi. I've always loved sci-fi. Anything to do with aliens, like I'm almost like Lester from the Alien Invaders. I used to Google UFO sightings in real life when I was a kid. And even now, I watch like Doctor Who pretty much every day. So you think Scooby Doo and Aliens is my ideal thing. And I just felt like this was so disappointing. Like you mentioned it perfectly talking about the title. Like we got the moon, but to me, the monster design wasn't that great. And there was no madness. It was like it
Yeah,
was all the moon, little monster, no madness. It was like it didn't really deliver on what it set out to do. There's a few things I did like. Like I love the cast. I think it's amazing that they got Kevin Michael Richardson in this. I think it's great that they got Jennifer Hale in this. But other than that, I feel like someone just said, let's make Scooby Doo and throw in a lot of alien references so the audience know that we're into proper cinema. And
yeah.
that's kind of where they ended it off. Like they just liked the idea and just said, do this, but make references to Alien. And so to me, if it was my own tier list, I'd put it bottom of mediocre, maybe even Scooby-Doo. But I know you've kind of said that you wanted it to be somewhere in mediocre. So
Yeah.
middle ground, where would you want to put it? Because I know that I want it at the very bottom. But
Oh,
what's your thoughts?
see, it's definitely not up the top at mediocre, but I really wouldn't want it down right at the bottom. But I wouldn't say it's in the middle either. So I want to go in the middle. So
Like
it's just,
lower
but
middle.
yeah, so it's like in the middle or between the middle and the bottom.
See, I wouldn't even mind it being a little bit below WrestleMania Mystery because I feel like these are two opposites. I expected to hate WrestleMania Mystery and I liked it. I expected to love this one and I just thought it was okay. So it really did disappoint me
I'll say we can do that. Put it underneath WrestleMania.
because I think that that's literally they go hand in hand for me with a lot of this. So, but that's probably an unpopular opinion. But I mean, I think we've probably got a lot of unpopular opinions on this so far because the thing is, we're recording this and no other episodes as of now have gone out yet. So we don't know what temperature. Like we could be like a third or fourth way through a series that is really annoying people, and we wouldn't know. But
And they're like, why are you doing this?
it's better in that way because I guess then we're not like clouded by like people's judgments. So I think it's good that we've got our like collective list. And again, me personally, I would have put that a lot lower down, but I like that middle ground quite a lot.
Because I guarantee you, if we did this as a live stream, lots of people would have
Oh
been
yeah.
like, I can't believe you said that.
And again, this one is going to be mad because this is, you know what, this might be the equivalent of the Loch Ness Monster movie for you. Because I've made my thoughts about the next one, Kiss Rock and Roll Mystery, very very clear. So you can kick us off. Wait, who kicked us off on Moon Monster? I guess.
Well, I'll go with the Kiss Rock and Roll
Yeah.
because I actually I liked and hate the movie because it got me introduced to the band Kiss. So that's what I liked about it. So now I have a new thing to add to my Spotify now. So it actually works in a benefit. As terms of mystery, though, I thought the gang was on acid when they were doing it because it looked like an acid trip. I don't know if they were going for that because lots of people back in the day used to take acid at concerts. So I thought there was a nod that they went all trippy and just hallucinated on some really strong mushrooms or something.
Or like,
And
I don't
just,
know, ecstasy
yeah,
or something,
yeah,
like some
yeah.
mad substance.
That's what I thought it was. I think it went from somewhat serious to like, what the hell is this? Like Alice in Wonderland shit. Like, what the hell? They went far down the rabbit hole. I was like, maybe they did it in a way where that's what people experience when they do trip. I'm guessing that's what they were going for. Because especially the whole they must have hallucinated it. The Stargate that wasn't real. There was meant to be a sequel to this, which I was looking forward to, but then it got shelved. And yeah, maybe it might happen, it might not. But I'll be down for a sequel. I don't know. I don't know where I would put this one.
I mean, I'll kind of level it out maybe with mine because really, the second I knew what they were doing, where they were trying to pair up a member of Kiss who was like a 56, 60-year-old something with Daphne, who's supposedly like 18 years old. Man, I want this to go in Swamp Gas. Like, I know that's the most unpopular opinion in the world. This is like our equivalent of the Loch Ness Monster. I want to put this in Swamp Gas. Never mind them being on acid. They're on Swamp Gas. They're hallucinating all types of stuff.
It's just the whole movie about drugs.
I want to
Peace
find
and
all copies of
yeah.
this and just how dare they make this? I don't. So
I
yeah,
like I
if it was
like
my own tier list, I would make a section below Swampcast to put this on. Like, that's what I would do. If this was me on my own, there'd be like Swamp Gas minus. I'd literally just make a tier list called Hell or something like that. Like, I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
Because for me personally, the only thing that has something nice to say about it is that I got a new artist to put on my Spotify. That's the only bit. Because if people ask me about this movie, all I tell them is it's like tripping on acid. And if you're someone who takes acid, you pretty much experience double acid if you watch this film.
I mean,
That's
this
the
isn't
only...
bad as a band at all. Like, I enjoyed what was it? They were in What's New Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
I
because
like that.
as a
I like
band,
that episode.
I
I like
think
some
they're
of the
great.
songs. Like, there's one that they do in the movie that I do like. I mean, all of the Kiss songs are actually just like, I think it's just this one movie, just
It's
the
like,
movie.
as a
I
kid,
can't.
I never liked listening to the band growing up, but now I enjoy it. I have no idea what my preference changed, but I don't know where to put this now because like
I just want to write it on my roll of toilet paper to.
if I take away the fact that I said that, like if I take away what I said as my own personal preference, it doesn't count towards my scoring. I'll say it reaches Scooby-Doo because I really want to watch it. Other than that, it's just the music that I got into. That was it.
Like, and even if I view it as a psychedelic Kiss musical, I can deal with it almost being like, like some music videos incorporate some aspects of animation and stuff like that. If I view certain sequences as psychedelic music videos, I'm fine with it. But other than that, I don't know. Like, if you take out the pedophilic subplot, I put this maybe middle of Scooby-Doo, but with that thingy at the end, I do genuinely just want to put it on toilet paper, use the toilet paper, flush it down the toilet, right
do you
down
know
to
the thing
Master
about
Splinter.
the gang's age is that I know a whole I know Daphne's real age is 17 not 18 because Shaggy is a year older, and if Shaggy's 18, there's no way Daphne's 18 because that would make Shaggy 19.
And how old is that guy?
Shaggy's always a year older than the
What was
gang
it?
because he was
Paul
held back.
Stanley. Paul Stanley age. He's a 71 years old. Imagine a 71-year-old with like an 18-year-old.
And you know in the what was it? You know in the
Disgusting.
The Happy Halloween movie where they got told that they can't keep doing stuff like this now because they're getting to the age of the being adults. That's giving clarity that they're almost 18.
So they're almost 18.
Yeah.
And top geezer Paul Stanley is trying to rizz up at 70 when he should be in the nursing home. What is this? Garbage. Like, I don't know what else to say about it.
And as well, if you forget what it is now. Back as a kid, there used to be these Scooby-Doo books that used to have detailed information about the gang's age, height, and all that. And it used to be on the Scooby-Doo behind the scenes, where they used to show a bit about the gang and their age and that. So yeah, the gang's definitely under 18, but Shaggy is the oldest.
I think you should probably do this one by yourself, because I think if I talk about the movie much more, if I think about the movie much more, my aneurysm's gonna come back, or because I'm gonna pop a vein or something. Because it's something that weirds me out, and it probably doesn't weird out anyone else. So
if we get 20 likes on this video, we will do a joint video reaction to the whole movie.
Oh, I would absolutely hate that. But let's
20 likes.
That.
20 likes. Let me just create 20 accounts quickly.
I'll vomit literally on the Zoom. Oh, garbage. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. So where do you want this? Because I'm not going to argue with you. I need to move on, or I'm going to end up having some type of.
So you want swamp gas?
I want it on the toilet paper down the Oh, I nearly swore that down the freaking
I
drain.
won't. Scooby don't.
I'm happy with it being in Scooby-Doo. You know, anywhere you want. If you want to put it on the
let's
top,
let's
put it
put
on
the
the
very
top.
bottom of
I
Scooby
want to
Doo.
move on.
It's the very bottom.
Pedophilic film. I don't know, man. Okay. Let's go from that conversation to a conversation about children's toys. Let's talk about a Lego Scooby-Doo. Lego
Straight
Scooby-Doo.
from the paedophilia talk to now let's
Now
Scoob
Lego.
toys.
Let's talk about the Lego. Oh my gosh, that actually hurts. Lego Scooby-Doo, Haunted Hollywood. Uh, I thought it was okay. Oh my gosh. No, I need to calm down for a second.
They really chose the right marketing for this to release this right after that movie.
I don't even know if that was controversial or not at the time. 2015, I would have been like, what, 17 years old. I would have been out, I'd have been out slaying, probably. I'd have been, you know what I mean? I'd have been Rizzing. That's what when I was the Rizzler. Um, so I wouldn't know.
I'll
So,
be
what
like,
did you
what,
think about
21?
Lego Scooby-Doo Haunted Hollywood? That's the first one about like the movie sets.
Because fun fact, I never owned Lego as a kid.
Hmm.
Never played with Lego. So I have no way to contribute to anything Lego related because I never owned a Lego piece until I brought this movie on Blu-ray and DVD where it came with a Scooby-Doo Lego piece. So my first ever Lego piece is Scooby-Doo. Quite proud of that. As the movie goes, I felt like I was watching a cutscene from a Lego video game that never existed. It's like if they took a game, they made a Lego Scooby Doo game and put all the cutscenes together, this would be that movie.
Yeah, I'm sure they've done that though, because I remember playing Lego Batman 2, or maybe it was the first one, and I think they actually released something like that as its own movie.
Yeah,
So I do get that.
but I wish they'd done it in reverse. I wish they did a game, then a movie,
That would have been.
because I would feel they would get more market if they released a Lego Scooby Doo game. And they could have done it at the Lego Scooby Doo Haunted Hollywood as a game that would reap more because they can throw the movie cutscenes in the game. So at least people get the game and a movie. So at least it makes some sense. Whereas this, there's not much voice talking going on. And the movements, I feel like if they did it like the Lego movie, it would have been more flawless. But I feel like every time I watch a Lego game, I really want a Lego Scooby Doo game. So seeing this movie just feels like this is the game we could have got, but this is just a cutscene. So enjoy.
I mean, it pleasantly surprised me, I want to say, as far as it was another one that I was expecting to be like completely ridiculous, and I found some stuff to enjoy about it. I didn't hate it. At the same time, though, I feel like it should be bottom of mediocre, somewhere near that.
See, that was close to what I was going to put it as. I was going to put Scooby Doo at the very
Scooby
top
Doo. Oh, I
because
don't dislike it enough to be Scooby Doo,
I've
but
only watched it twice.
at the same time,
I've only
I've
watched
only
it
seen it
twice.
once.
Um, I had to rewatch it for this tier list. That's the second time. I saw it once
Second.
when it came out, and I thought, okay, I'll pick up on Blu-ray as well. And I rewatched it again. I was like, but I get the same emotions when I watched it now that I did before when it came out. Whereas, like, I really want the game. Because if we had Lego Dimensions, it's possible you could have done a Lego Scooby Doo game. Why not? You know, think how much money you could make with Lego Scooby Doo games. People would buy it regardless. Like, you could just throw something together in an hour, and boom, there you go, sales up.
I'd buy it.
Yeah,
So I guess if you're feeling Scooby-Doo, whereabouts do you feel it? Do you feel like it's better or worse than Chill Out?
I want to say it's at the top of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, meh, I see that because I want it at the bottom of Mystery, so I like that. I can put that there. We're making good progress there. Oh, okay. Here's another one. Okay, Scooby-Doo and WWE Curse of the Speed Demon. I'll kick off with my thoughts. So I went into this with high hopes because I was pleasantly surprised by WrestleMania Mystery. I thought, like I said when we covered it just before, it blended it well where I didn't feel alienated. And now this time, I don't like this as much as WrestleMania Mystery. I thought that some of the premises were good. Like I love how they gave the Undertaker some cool death mobile. Like I enjoy a lot of it from a set piece perspective. I don't know. Because I feel like I like cars and wrestle and like racing more than I like wrestling. But for some reason, this movie just didn't hit me like it should have, maybe. So I think I would put it somewhere anywhere below WrestleMania Mystery, but that's the question that I want to have with you. Where do you think this stacks up compared to that WrestleMania Mystery
So
one?
I think it deserves a Scooby-Doo
Okay, okay, I feel that.
because to me personally, I don't feel wrestling and racing cars mix. It does not work together. If they were doing Scooby-Doo teams up with Dominic Toretto,
But
called
yeah,
Scooby-Doo and the Fate of the Family, or something like that, I'll be all for it. I'll be all for the Power Family in that movie. But when it became down to wrestling, I was like, I understand they got to do something different, but racing cars does not work when you've got wrestling involved where they're fighting on top of the cars. It just becomes a massive joke. You can watch it, fair play, but it's like, you know, once they start getting on the cars and start doing flips and, wrestling moves and using their strength for their advantage, and just by the sheer look of their vehicles, they just pretty much just slapped us together like a sandwich with no
yeah.
care whatsoever. It's like
It's
the
like if
deli
they did a
sandwich.
movie with Gordon Ramsay and it was about
It's like
stunt driving
it's like
or
going to the
yeah.
co-op and getting a sandwich, a ham and cheese sandwich, open up knowing that you have barely any ham and cheese in there, and it's mostly just bread. That's what this movie was like
It's
when
like
watching
going
it.
to Nando's and asking for spaghetti bolognese. It just doesn't compute. So oh, where do you want this though? Because I think I enjoyed both Lego Haunted Hollywood and Chill Out more than this.
Yeah,
But I think it's better than Mystery Man. I think it's better than Mystery Man. Because puppets?
yeah,
Yeah,
but at least the puppets was a bit more original.
yeah, that's true.
Whereas
It is
this, there
true.
was there was no. It's like they saw the Fast and Furious movie and thought we can do our own, but for wrestling, it's like why don't you just do Scooby Doo teams up with the Fast X, or Scooby Doo meets, uh, teams up with cars, and do something like that, like Lightning McQueen, I Am Speed.
Or
Whereas
even
this
like a
one,
famous racer, like I don't know any famous
oh,
racers.
uh, Lewis Hamilton,
Lewis Hamilton, hey,
yeah.
okay, that's it. I like that though.
But they could have done them, but it's like, but no. Instead, we got wrestling with cars or monster truck derbies. It's like it ain't gonna work. That's why I'm like a Scooby Doo for me.
So we could put it even below Mystery Man.
Put it below mystery
That's
maps.
what we could do. Okay. I think I it's your turn. Is it my turn now? I guess we'll do you. What is your thoughts on Scooby-Doo Shaggy Showdown?
Oh, I'm a bit in the middle with it. This is like it was a slow paced movie to get into, but I still thought it had good, some sort of good taste to it. The story was good in the same sense. Okay, an evil Shaggy. Never thought I would see the day that happening. But I don't really feel like Shaggy was the main protagonist in this film. I feel like his moment didn't shine at all. He didn't really get a lot to work on. I want to say it's like mediocre. That's not the worst Scooby-Doo film out there, but it's not the greatest. But it definitely tried its best. I feel like evil Shaggy, like they call him, or his ancestor, what they were playing with. Because it's the first movie we've seen him go back and meet up with his family, where he's actually a gunslinger. Which that's new information. That was great. But it's like it's supposed to be. I felt like they were trying to go for a Shaggy redemption arc with it, but ended up being flanneled over by Fred traps and that. So I feel like without the gang, they didn't really sustain much.
Yeah, I like the ending. I feel like it ended
Ended on a
nicely
good
with that
note.
kind of what was it, like the ancestor was vindicated and they almost had that nice exchange. I like it when they all got dressed up as like the rootin' tootin' cowboys. I think that was all good. Other than that, I agree in a way. I think it focused on some of the wrong things. Like I think that they had some good ideas there, but maybe they made it too much about, I guess, the rodeo show versus the mystery of the ancestor, which I think almost could have been more explored.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like a Western equivalent of the samurai sword, where they try to bring it into a new genre almost, and they do a lot of good, but they don't quite nail it.
But I really wouldn't say it's better than the samurai sword.
It annoyed me less, but it didn't impact me the same. So I think I could put it below. But then again, I think I don't. I've got way more nostalgia for something like Boo Brothers than this one.
How far down the bottom of mediocre go are we willing to place it?
Not bottom. I don't. Not bottom. Well, see, Abracadabra Doo's around about there, and I think this one tries to do more than Abracadabra Doo did.
Because I would, yeah, but I would prefer watching Abracadabra do. That's the weird thing. If I had to pick a movie for the night, it would be between those two. I'd choose Abracadabra do.
See, it's weird because I'm looking at these, and I think I'd rather watch all of them. But then there's watchability and there's quality, and it's kind of like, what do you want to rank this on? Because it almost could go at the bottom of mediocre, based on the fact that I would put this one on before the Lego movie, but I would put Abracadabra Do on before.
I don't know where I want to place it now. You want to put it up the middle bit, just above the middle of mediocre.
I would be happy with it being around about the bottom of mediocre, really.
Around the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Do it around the bottom.
So do you want to do below Abracadabra?
Yeah, do it below Abracadabra.
Showdown. Okay, now this is the last one. This is Lego Scooby-Doo Blowout Beach Bash. So here's the kind of main question that I've got for you about this then. What is your opinion of this movie compared to the first Lego Scooby-Doo movie? Like, do you think it's better or worse?
I think it's worse.
Worse.
I prefer Haunted Hollywood. Maybe it's just my weird preference, but a beach episode didn't really feel like something to celebrate about.
Hmm. Yeah, that is weird because I feel like I enjoyed this more than Haunted Hollywood because it had that connection to Scooby-Doo and a Mummy too. It has I mean, I kind of like the beach. I mean, not necessarily the beach stuff, but I like how they had the pirates and it could showcase the pirate ship setting. And also, it got a bit classic with the hotel, with the portraits, the hidden alleyways. I don't know, because I feel like with the first Lego movie, I think it could have been, and it probably should have been, a regular animated thing. Whereas this one was wacky and irreverent enough for me to go, oh, I can kind of see why this was Lego. Not that it makes it better in terms of movie in general, but I could see why this one was produced in Lego form versus they say Haunted Hollywood, which I think would have looked great in the art style of Abracadabra or Big Top.
Yeah.
So I kind of lean towards this. So it's tricky actually,
Because
this
I,
one.
I was going to put it below Haunted Hollywood,
Mhm.
where I would place it. But you want it above because you think it's better. What?
Hmm.
A
It is a
hard one.
tricky one. It is a tricky
It
one.
is.
Because in any day we could like flip a coin and decide.
It does feel a bit longer than Haunted Hollywood. I do get distinct when I watch it. It is much more longer, the beach one, but not gradually too much because they're both short in their own and they're not majorly full length movies.
I mean, there is more that I can criticize to an extent about Lego Beach Bash because I think there's that divide, isn't there, where there's what I think is it Shaggy and Daphne start to criticize Velma and Fred because they're not fun, and then they just start going off and doing like dance moves and they become kind of goofy and irresponsible. That stuff I wasn't a great fan of. So I think I don't care enough about the beach movie to say yes, it needs to be on top of Haunted Hollywood. For the sake of the sake, and because I acknowledge it isn't perfect, I wouldn't mind putting it below Haunted Hollywood. It's just that distinction for me. Like, if it was my personal tier list doing it by myself, I think it would be just above. But there's enough that I can go, right, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just put it below. Yeah, there's enough.
I like how they both have good special features as well.
Okay, so
I will have to get a new chair. This chair is like 4 or 5 years old.
it's crazy. But look, we have an updated tier list, which is absolutely crazy. I don't think there's gonna be much more than two more parts to this series, right? Like
I
we've
think
made some
so.
pretty good progress.
There's only
Like
seven. There's only 8 more movies left for us to cover.
now, I kind of want to check. Yeah, so we could do all that in one, and then to finish it off, we can literally do Scoob, the four live actions, and Daphne and Velma, and that'll
Yeah,
be our last part. So that's crazy, literally. Like two more parts left, which is
and
absolutely mad.
we're gonna get to some of the good stuff that Matt. Like we get to find discuss Returns on the Island and put it on
That's
at the very end of
crazy.
Swamp Gas.
Like that is mad that we've got that far because this has been a journey, but I'm glad we did it again. As of
And there's
recording
no way
this,
I'm re-watching that
we
movie.
don't know
I
what
don't
the
need to
temperature is
re-watch
in
the
the
movie that
building.
has Swamp Gas. There ain't no way
So
I'm
I
sitting
guess
through
to
and
wrap
watching
up
that.
this section, before we get to the dreaded swamp gas, Mark, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on my social medias at Twitter at Luigi, or over on Instagram at Mark Marsh 94, or you can head over to my YouTube channel for all the latest when I post videos every so weekly.
That is incredible. So thank you so much for watching. Please stay subscribed for the next part. And if you do want to see more, then please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.